You started the show by talking about this. Take care of your mind. Take care of your body so you can perform and kick ass. How do you explain Tom Brady doing what he's still doing at age 43?
I think he does all those, takes care of himself, has learned how to do that. I will say this. I have a couple people in my war chest when I played that if they took care of him, he could play till he's 50. And one of them is the guy, Mark Lindsay, who takes care of Christian McCaffrey. And I would love to connect those two people because I am in awe of Tom Brady. I'm inspired by him, and I truly believe that Tampa's going to win this football game because of what Tom Brady brought to the organization. He took a group of guys that now believe because he got there that they can win and they can beat anybody. And I think it's going to be a hell of a game, but Tampa's going to win this football game.
All right, so what about the flip side of that? When you look at Patrick Mahomes, what do you see? And I mean, it's a bet against Mahomes. It's a bet against that offense. It's awfully tough to go against those guys, but you're willing to do so?
Absolutely. Here's why. Jim, you know as well as I do that too many times during the year they get off to a slow start. They did last year in the Super Bowl. They've done it multiple times throughout the season. You get off to a slow start with Tom Brady, they will put the gas on, and their defense is good enough. And here's another thing that's going to help versus a Tyreek Hill and a Kelsey is the fact that the refs do not call penalties the way they do during the regular season. There's going to be some serious holding going on with those two guys. And with Kansas City having a beat-up offensive line, I think Mahomes, the magician, the next savior to you-know-who, is going to spend a lot of time on his back in this game.
It's right before the Super Bowl. We always do this time of year. Romo, I look back on your career, and you're talking about commitment, professionalism, the will to prepare. But when I look at any sport right now, the buzzwords that keep getting thrown around are things like culture, team identity. When you were drafted by the 49ers, you were there at a time when Eddie DeBartolo was the owner, and there was a locker room with multiple Hall of Famers. How would you describe the culture of the 49ers at that time?
You know what? At the end of the day, what you're really talking about, Jim, is guys that go out and make plays and win. Then, when you start winning, you can then add those buzzwords that you're talking about. But you give me a bunch of mules and you talk, they could all be the greatest guys on the planet, and you're not going to win any games, so nobody's going to talk about your culture. Nobody's going to talk about anything. You got to have guys that can go. Every team, if you're going to be in the Super Bowl or make a run at a Super Bowl, you got to have 4 or 5 elite players. You got to have 2 to 3 on offense, 2 to 3 on defense, and then you got to have a bunch of role players and other guys that can impact the game. If you don't, nobody's talking about culture. Nobody. Hey, in Denver, we had the greatest group of guys I've ever been around, and we won 2 Super Bowls. But we had John Elway. As soon as John Elway was gone, we still had the same culture. We had all the same. You take all your buzzwords and throw them in the trash because they don't mean crap, because we didn't win after John Elway left.
Bill Romanowski keeping it real with us as always. Romo, so let's be real for a minute. The Raiders this year were 6-3. They look like a playoff lock before it all unraveled down the stretch. They missed the postseason altogether. What happened to these guys, and what was going through your mind as you watched that train wreck play out?
They have two. I just said you need 5 players, at least 5, 4 or 5. They have 2 elite players, Josh Jacobs and Waller, the tight end. Those are 2 elite talents. That's it. They don't have one guy on defense that you call elite that is a playmaker that can consistently get it done, that's going to go to the Pro Bowl. So because of that, because they have no impact players on defense, they weren't able to get the job done. The quarterback, Derek Carr, is good enough when the defense is playing well and he can execute John Gruden's offense, which John Gruden himself is worth 7 to 10 points during a game. He can out-chess the opposing defensive coordinator, but without a defense, without impact players, they couldn't get it done down the stretch. That's 2 years in a row that has happened.